Welcome to everyone. It's our 13th lecture, and in this lecture we will discuss about the excretion in humans. So the main objectives of today's lecture include excretion in humans. In excretion in humans, we will discuss about the excretory organs, liver and its role, and structure and functions of the kidneys. Firstly, we will discuss about the excretion. What is excretion? So, excretion is basically the removal of toxic materials, waste products of metabolism, and substances that are in excessive amounts or that are in excess of requirements in the body. And removal of all these materials from the body of an organism is known as the process of excretion. What are the main excretory organs in the body of humans? So if we talk about the excretory organs, then excretory organs include lungs, kidneys, liver. Skin is an organ that loses water, salts and urea, but it is not included in the excretory organs. If we talk about the excretory products that are excreted out by the lungs, so excretory products of the lungs include carbon dioxide, and excretory products of kidneys include nitrogenous waste, water, salts, toxins, hormones and drugs. Excretory products of liver include bile pigments like bilirubin. If we talk about the incidental losses of lungs, then lungs lose water and skin also loses water, salts and urea. So in this diagram we can see the lungs of the human body. Here is the liver and these both are kidneys. Kidneys are bean shaped. Now we will discuss the liver and its role in producing the proteins. As we know that liver plays an important role in assimilation of amino acids. So liver plays an important role in assimilation or absorbing of amino acids. It removes the amino acids from the plasma of the bloodstream and builds them up into the proteins. That's why this process is known as assimilation. Proteins are long chains of amino acids. As we know that many of the amino acid chains are united together to form the proteins. So long chains of amino acids join together by the peptide bonds and make proteins. What is the process of deamination? So deamination is the removal of nitrogen containing part of amino acids to form the urea. So deamination can be defined as the removal of nitrogen containing part of amino acids, and in this process urea is formed. Basically, excretion and egestion are two different terms. In this lecture, we will discuss that what is the basic difference between excretion and egestion. If we talk about the excretion, as we have learned before that excretion is the removal of the waste product, toxic materials and the substances that are excess amount in the bodies. So the removal of all these materials from the human body is known as the process of excretion. But what is egestion? So egestion is basically the expulsion of undigested food waste from the anus. So undigested food waste are expelled out from the anus, and this process is known as egestion, while excretion is the removal of the waste product of metabolic reactions, toxic substances, and those substances that are in excessive amount in bodies. Now we will discuss about the kidneys. We will talk about the structure and functions of kidneys. As we know that urine is taken from the kidney to the bladder by the ureters. So urine is taken from the kidney to the bladder by the help of ureters. What is urethra? So urethra is the tube that carries the urine out of the body. So urine is carried out of the body through urethra, which is a tube, and it carries the urine out of the body of humans. Here we can see all the structure. So basically this artery that is shown in the red color, it is the renal artery, and the artery that is shown in the blue color is the renal vein. Renal artery carries the oxygenated blood to the kidneys, while renal veins carries the deoxygenated blood away from the kidneys. These are two bean-shaped kidneys, and we know that kidney regulates the water content and it also filters the blood. Here is the tube that is known as the ureter that carries the urine from the kidney to the bladder. Here is the bladder, and from the bladder a tube carries the urine out of the body, which is known as urethra. So here is the renal artery, and which is shown in red color, and renal vein, which is shown in blue color, and these are two kidneys, and here is the bladder, and through bladder a tube carries the urine out of the body, which is known as urethra. Now we talk about structure of kidneys. So what is the renal artery? Renal artery is the branches up from the aorta and brings the oxygenated blood to the kidneys, as we have already described in the diagram. And the renal vein takes the deoxygenated blood away from the kidney to the vena cava. Ureter is a tube that runs from each kidney to the bladder in the lower abdomen. What is the cortex? Cortex is the dark outer region of renal tube. So the dark outer region of renal tubules is known as the cortex. So renal artery are the branches up from the aorta, and this brings the oxygenated blood. Renal artery brings oxygenated blood to the kidneys, while renal veins take the deoxygenated blood away from the kidneys to the vena cava. If we talk about the ureter, is a tube. It runs from each kidney to the bladder in the lower abdomen, while the dark outer region of renal tubules is known as cortex. What is the medulla? Medulla is the light inner region of renal tubule. Pelvis is the space where the ureters join the kidney. So the place where two ureters join the kidney is known as pelvis. So pelvis is the place where the ureters join the kidney. What is glomerulus? Glomerulus is a capillary repeatedly divided and coiled, making a knot of vessels, which is known as glomerulus. So capillaries repeatedly divide themselves and then coiled upon themselves, and they make a knot of vessels, which is known as glomerulus. Now we will talk about the renal capsule. So renal capsule is basically a cup-shaped organ. So renal capsule is a cup-shaped organ that surrounds each glomerulus. So each glomerulus is surrounded by a renal capsule, which is a cup-shaped organ. What is renal tubule? Renal tubule is a coiled tubule that leading from the renal capsule. So glomerulus is a capillary repeatedly divided. If the capillary is repeatedly divided and coiled upon themselves, they make a knot of vessels which are known as glomerulus. And glomerulus is surrounded by cup-shaped organ that is known as renal capsule. And the tubules that leads from the renal capsule and it is in coiled form, it is known as renal tubule. What are the collecting ducts? So collecting duct, the duct where the renal tubule join up leading through the medulla into the pelvis. So the area where the renal tubule joins up and leading through the medulla into the pelvis is known as collecting duct. Nephron. Nephron is a single glomerulus with its renal capsule, renal tubule and blood capillaries. So nephron is a single glomerulus having renal capsule, renal tubule and blood capillaries. What are the sphincter muscles? So sphincter muscles are those muscles that control the release of urine through the urethra. So urethra is a tube that carries the urine away from the body, and urethra and sphincter muscles control the release of urine through the urethra. So the release of urine through the urethra is controlled by specific muscles which are known as sphincter muscles. Efferent arterioles. Efferent arterioles are those arterioles that conveys the information from organs to the nervous system. So information that is conveyed from organs to the nervous system is conveyed through the arterioles that are known as efferent arterioles. What are efferent arterioles? Efferent arterioles conveys information from nervous system to the organs. So the basic difference between afferent arterioles and efferent arterioles is that afferent arterioles conveys information from organs to nervous system, while efferent arterioles conveys information from nervous system to organs. Vasa recta. Vasa recta forms a series of straight capillaries in the medulla. So a series of straight capillaries in the medulla is formed by vasa recta. What is the loop of Henle? So loop of Henle is the portion of a nephron that leads from the proximal convoluted tubule to the distal convoluted tubules. So the portion that leads from the proximal convoluted tubules to the distal, from proximal to distal convoluted tubule, and this portion of a nephron is known as the loop of Henle. So loop of Henle is that portion of a nephron that leads from the proximal convoluted tubule to the distal convoluted tubules. So we can say that here is the cortex, that is the medulla, renal artery which is shown in red color, renal vein which is shown in blue color, and this is the ureter. Now we will discuss about the functions of the kidneys. First function of the kidney is the ultrafiltration. What is the ultrafiltration? So it is the process by which fluid is filtered out of the blood by the glomerulus. The blood pressure in a glomerulus causes the part of the blood plasma to leak through the capillary walls. So only small substances are able to squeeze through. Thus the fluid that does filter through is free of protein. So the fluid that is filtered is free of the protein, and the fluid mainly consists of water having salts, glucose, urea and uric acid. This is known as ultrafiltration, which is the process by which fluid is filtered out of the blood by the glomerulus. And the area of the body that is involved in this process is known as glomerulus, which is the part of the kidney. Now we will discuss about another function of the kidney, which is known as the reabsorption. Kidney is also helps in the process of reabsorption, and reabsorption is the process of absorbing back the substances that are needed by the body. So the substances that are needed by the body are absorbed back, and this process is known as reabsorption. So the filtrate from the glomerulus collects in the renal capsule and trickles down the renal tubule. As it does so, the capillaries which surround the tubule absorb back into the blood those substances which the body needs, which include water, glucose and some salts. So these substances that are the water, glucose and some salts are reabsorbed by the kidney by the process of reabsorption. So the area of the kidney that is involved in the process is known as the renal tubule. Another function of the kidney is known as the osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is basically a regulatory process, and it keeps the blood at a steady concentration. The concentration of the body fluids is kept within a very narrow limits by the kidneys, which adjust the concentration of the blood flowing through them by increasing or decreasing the process of reabsorption and sending signals to the brain. So this whole process is known as osmoregulation, which is a regulatory process that keeps the blood at a steady concentration. Area of the kidney that is involved in the osmoregulation is known as the loop of Henle. We have already described about the loop of Henle. Kidney is also known as the process of excretion. Excretion is basically the removal of urea, other nitrogenous waste and excess salts, water, hormones and drugs from the body. We have already described the process of excretion in detail. So if we define it again, then we can say that it is the removal of the urea, nitrogenous waste like the metabolic products, nitrogenous waste, excess water, salts, hormones and drugs from the body, and excess amino acids are deaminated in the liver to form the glycogen and urea. We have already described the process of deamination. So the urea is removed from the tissues by the blood and it is expelled out by the kidneys. So the area that is involved in the excretion is ureter. So ureter is the part of the kidney that is involved. So ureter is the part of the body that is involved in the process of excretion. Kidney have also important function in the process of secretion. What is the process of secretion? So secretion is basically the process by which substances move into the collecting tubules from blood in the capillaries around these tubules. So it is a process by which substances move into the collecting tubules from the blood in the capillaries around these tubules. So hydrogen, potassium, ammonia and certain drugs are excreted out of the blood and into the kidney tubules where they are eventually eliminated in the urine. So hydrogen, potassium, ammonia and certain drugs are excreted out of the blood and into the kidney tubules, and then they are eventually eliminated through the urine. So area which is involved in the secretion are the renal tubules. So renal tubules are involved in the process of secretion. If we talk about the composition of the filtrate, then filtrate includes sodium, potassium, urea, glucose, amino acids, water, chloride and hydrogen carbonate. Excretion composition include water, potassium, urea, salts and uric acid. While reabsorption composition, salts are reabsorbed 65%, water 65%, glucose 100% reabsorbed and amino acids are also 100% reabsorbed. Hormones that are involved in this process are known as aldosterone and ADH hormones. ADH is the antidiuretic hormones. Now we will talk about the dialysis machine or artificial kidney. So dialysis is a treatment that filters and purifies the blood using a machine. So the process that filters and purifies the blood by using a machine is known as the dialysis process. Here we can see the dialysis process. It is a dialysis machine and dialysis fluid is removed. Basically air trap and air is detected and anticoagulant is shown here and the blood pump is shown here. So it is the dialysis process, we describe it. So dialysis fluid is a fluid that contains a glucose concentration similar to a normal level in the blood and a concentration of iron similar to that found in the normal blood plasma. And dialysis fluid contains no urea. As the dialysis fluid has no urea, there is a large concentration gradient. So meaning that urea moves across the partially permeable membranes from the blood to the dialysis fluid by the diffusion. What are the advantages and disadvantages of kidney transplant and kidney dialysis? So if we talk about the advantages of kidney transplant, then patient can lead a more normal life without having to watch what they eat and drink. And it is also cheaper than the overall. Kidney dialysis has the advantages that it is available to all kidney patients, no shortage, and there is no need for immune suppressant drugs in kidney dialysis. If we talk about the disadvantages of kidney transplants, must take the immune suppressant drugs which increase the risk of infection, so it is also a disadvantage. It requires a suitable donor with a good tissue match. Third advantage is that shortage of organ donors. Kidney only lasts 8 to 9 years on average, so there is a risk and there is also a disadvantage. Operation carries risk and it is also expensive, so it is a disadvantage of kidney transplant. If we talk about the disadvantages of kidney dialysis, then the patient must limit their salts and portion intake between dialysis sessions. So it is a disadvantage. It is expensive, which is also a disadvantage for the patients, and regular dialysis sessions impact on the patient lifestyle. So this is also disadvantages of kidney dialysis. I hope you have understood all the topic. Thank you so much.